Hey there! So, you want to know who Thomas Aquinas was, huh? Well, let me tell you, this guy was one of the most important figures in the history of Christian theology and philosophy. But before we get into all that, let's talk about the time period in which he lived. Thomas Aquinas was born in 1225 in Italy, during a time when Europe was experiencing a cultural and intellectual revival known as the High Middle Ages. This was a time of great innovation, as scholars were translating and studying the works of Aristotle. But it wasn't just the works of ancient Greeks that were being studied. There was also an influx of Islamic philosophy. This was a big concern in the time of Thomas Aquinas, how to maintain the Christian faith under the influence of Aristotle and Islamic philosophy. Those who were just concerned about the problems within Christianity were now concerned about their rationality outside of their religion, in front of other religions and other ideas. It's important to understand this context because it shaped the intellectual climate in which Aquinas was working. He was a Christian theologian, and his vocation was to reconcile the teachings of Christianity with the new ideas that were circulating. Aristotle's philosophy, for example, was a big influence on Aquinas, but he also drew from Islamic philosophy and other sources. Now, let's talk about Aquinas' life. He was born into a noble family in a small town in Italy. At the age of 5, he was sent to a monastery to receive an education. His family wanted him to become a monk, but he resisted at first. He was sent to study at the University of Naples, where he was exposed to the works of Aristotle. This had a profound impact on him, and he became interested in studying theology. In 1244, Aquinas joined the Dominican order, which was known for its commitment to scholarship and preaching. He continued his studies, and in 1256, he began teaching at the University of Paris. This was a prestigious appointment, and it gave him the opportunity to engage with some of the greatest minds of his time. But there's something to remember. He wasn't a professor of philosophy, he was a professor of theology. There was no philosophy department in the university at that time. The philosophy department didn't have its own degree program. Scholastic philosophy at the time was largely the philosophy of the theologian, that is, the philosophy of the theologian. Thomas Aquinas' philosophy is no different. It's the philosophy of the theologian. Aquinas' most important work is the Summa Theologica, which is a comprehensive theological treatise that covers a wide range of topics. It took him over a decade to complete, and it remains one of the most influential works of Christian theology to this day. Aquinas died in 1274. He was only 49 years old, but he had already made an indelible mark on the world of theology and philosophy. So, there you have it. Thomas Aquinas was a Christian theologian who lived during a time of great intellectual and cultural ferment. His vocation was to reconcile the teachings of Christianity with the new ideas that were circulating, and he drew on a wide range of sources to do so. His most important work, the Summa Theologica, remains a monument of Christian thought to this day.